everybody to week 4 of Mindset 101. This is our last week together, and I hope you've learned a lot. We're going to start by reviewing. I'm Coach Stacy. This is Coach Allie. You totally know us by now, so we probably don't need any introductions, but we're going to start by reviewing our model and just kind of going through it, putting it all together again. So we start out with the circumstance, and the circumstance is always neutral, and it's something that everyone in the world would agree upon. It's something that if the circumstance is somebody else, they would agree upon that circumstance as well. So the circumstance is neutral, that everyone would agree upon. And then we have thought about our circumstance. And that thought, we give some meaning to. We create meaning around the circumstance with that thought, and it generates a feeling in our body. That chemical release of hormones creates this emotional feeling in our body that's literally a physical experience that our body then is going to use to fuel us into action. And so that action is going to come from the feeling. It's going to fuel our action and fuel our inaction. So the things that we do and the things that we don't do. We do things and we don't do things out of the feeling of resisting the feeling, out of reacting to the feeling, out of trying to run away from the feeling. We take those actions or those inactions, and those actions create a result for us. And so it's not the thought that creates the result, the actions that create the result, but the thought generates the whole model. And so the results always prove the thought true because it's what it came from. So you know how that you're always like, I knew that would happen. I knew that this would happen. But most of the time it happens because we actually create the model for it to happen based on thinking something will happen, feeling a certain way, taking actions or inactions, and then getting a result out of that. So when we are going to coach ourselves, we first understand this model. We figure out we grab a thought, we understand what's getting it, or maybe we start from the bottom. We're like, I'm getting this result. Why am I getting this result? Oh, I'm taking these actions, feeling this way. We can go any way that we want in the model, as long as we go in order. And so what we do to get our second model is we craft the model. And Allie likes to call it her unicorn model. So I'm going to let her tell you a little more about it.
Okay, so I know what you're all thinking right now. You're like, okay, I get it. If I'm thinking I'm going to split the beam and I'm feeling terrified, of course I'm not going to go. And I'm understanding that and I'm getting that, but what do I do next? How do I go? Because ultimately, that's usually not where we all want to stay. We have to understand that. We have to be okay with that, but you have to get through that in order to get to the next model. My unicorn model, I call it, because it's like this wonderful magical thing that we want and that we can get to, but we maybe don't believe it yet. And that'll come out a little bit more as we go. And after we finish this wonderful unicorn model, Coach Stacy is going to take you through a second version that might help get you to something a little bit more believable in the moment. So to start crafting, the C is always, always the same. Whatever the C is in your unintentional model, that is going to be the C in your intentional model. Thank you for the demonstration, Coach Stacy. And the hands from back layout or your beam series, whatever you've written there, is going to stay the same because we're not changing that. What we want to do next is think, what is the result that we want? Okay. So as you can see what's written, I want to hit a no wobble series. That is an amazing result for me. I'll feel great striving towards that 10-0, that confidence. I want to hit that no wobble series. And so in the craft, what comes next? What is going to make it so that we get those results? We take actions that help us create those results. And in the moment, so this maybe is a goal of like, I'm doing back hands and back layouts right now, but maybe I'm still terrified of them. So I'm having a result of still being terrified in this layout series. So I want to take steps where I'm doing it and I'm actually hitting it no wobble. So in order for me to do that, I need to push through my legs. I have to get my arms back. I have to get my hips up. I have to be square. I have to do all these different actions to create my series. If you're someone who is like, I don't know what I have to do, just sit and take a moment and maybe write down 5 things that you need to do that make it your best turn ever. Okay. I do my best series when I do these 5 things, and those are actions that you could take. Other things, believing that you're capable. In this moment, you're going to start thinking a little bit more positively about you, about the series. You're going to be creating more positive self-talk. Like before, we said there can be that destructive thought where it kind of makes it worse. And now this is going to be something that you can build on. And then visualizing, if you're at this point where you're hitting a no wobble series, you can actually visualize yourself doing that successfully. So visualizing yourself doing it. There are tons of different actions you can take. Coach Stacy's going to talk a little bit more too about actions that you can take if maybe this is a goal that's more in the future, not something like you're level 4 and you want to be doing this series someday. But right now, this is when you're already doing. So these are the steps you need to do to improve on it. Okay, so now you know what result you want. You have all the actions that are going to create that result. What fuels your actions? You got it. Feelings. I hope you passed that. We talked about it now. So feelings are going to fuel all your actions. And so really think about, how do I need to feel in order to do these actions? And a lot of times people are going to say excited. Coach Stacy, do you think you actually want to be excited for this?
Not on beam.
Why not?
So I think that if I felt excited, the actions that I would take is I would probably push harder. I would go harder. That adrenaline would make me like jump harder, throw back harder, maybe split too soon. The feeling of excited, though it's a good feeling in my body, is not a feeling that fuels the actions that I probably want to take to hit a no wobble series.
Amazing. Can you give me an example of a feeling that maybe you would want to feel to do those things?
Yeah, I like to feel focused. I like to feel calm, especially on beam. I want to feel really calm and centered. And a feeling centered is another good one. A feeling that's similar to capable, but for me feels a little different, is assured.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know I can do this, kind of feeling that like assurance of like, I'm capable and I know that I've got this kind of feeling is one that really fuels these good actions for me.
Amazing. So my point to that is, your feeling might not be the same as the person next to you that's going to fuel the actions. For me, the feeling was capable. And I thought, if I feel capable, I know I'd be able to do these things. And then I would hit my no wobble series. So what creates a feeling? Your thoughts. You've got that, right? Thoughts are going to create your feeling. And it can be tough in this moment when you're creating this unicorn type model, because you have to put yourself in a place where you believe this to be true, like where you believe that you can actually do it. And you might not believe that yet, and that's okay. So really, like, I have to believe that, okay, what if I'm in a place where I already believe I'm capable? What thoughts could I have that could actually make me feel capable? And so sometimes it is, I've got this. And my favorite for capable, because I think it's easier to apply during a long time period, is I do my best when I push through my legs. I do my best when I focus on straight arms. Sometimes you can pick something that is a little bit more achievable to you. Like, I know that I can push through my legs. I am capable of pushing through my legs, and I do my best ones then. So I'm feeling capable of doing this series. And that
I remember Coach Amy used to say, when I push through my big toe.
Yeah, she does say that. She says big toe. I know sometimes it's a muscle action. I do my best when I squeeze my quad muscle. I mean, that pushes through your legs, but like it's so different for everybody. And I just challenge you to start thinking about different ways. Coach Stacy, do you have anything else that makes you feel capable?
Usually we feel capable when we can look to evidence in our past. So I've done this before. I know I can do it again. I do this every day in practice. I know I can do it now. I've done this a million times. I know that I know how to do this. Like, a lot of times I feel capable when I can look to my past either for evidence that I've done it in the past or for evidence that I know I have the ability to do it. So maybe you normally do a flick lay, and so you're not looking to evidence for the past to do a flick lay, but you know you can do a flick lay if you can do a flick lay. Like even sometimes if it's not the exact same thing, when you can look to evidence about your capabilities, I know I have the capability to do this, and evidence that proves that, then you'll feel capable. Sometimes I also feel capable of something that I don't have evidence I can do in the past when I believe in how I'm going to show up. And then I'll feel capable as well.
Amazing. So you might be looking at this model. Maybe you're like, okay, if I said I've got this, it'd make me feel capable. But sometimes we try and use I've got this and we don't quite believe it yet. Like if you are feeling terrified, most likely it's a big jump to be like, I've got this, and it works. Because a lot of times you guys are already trying to say that to yourself. And the reason we know it's not working is because you're not getting that result, which means that you're like, well, maybe I don't got this because I have split the beam, or it's only 4 inches wide. So, and you come up with all these reasons why. So let's say you've made this unicorn model. This is ultimately the goal. And we are going to help you take steps to get to this. But Stacy also has another great way of remaking this intentional model, that where you start in the feelings line, which might help you find something that's a little more realistic for you today. So Coach Stacy?
Yeah, so let's say you're watching this and you're like a level 4 or a level 2. And you're like, a beam series is a long way away. You can do different models that aren't like, I've got this, but I was like, what are you going to do to get there? Or let's say you don't feel capable, but you know that you are. You can use this to kind of determine, like, how do you want to feel? So again, you can go in the model as long, any which way you want, as long as you stay in order. So if you start with the feeling, how do you want to feel about your beam series? Maybe you want to feel determined. Like, I don't feel capable yet, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. That would be a thought that would lead you to feel determined, but I want to feel determined. I want to feel focused, or I want to feel calm, or I want to feel capable. Like whatever you want the feeling to be, you start here. And then you can go, okay, if I felt that way, what would the actions be that I would take from that feeling? So let's say you don't have this yet. You're not capable of doing it by looking to your past, knowing you've done it a lot of times. You're going to do all the drills that you need to do to get there. You're going to do all the skills that lead up to it. You're going to do all your progressions. You're going to do, I don't know what, thought work. You're going to do all the stuff on your brain to work every day to coach yourself to the place in which you actually believe it. You're going to do strength and conditioning. You're going to do flexibility. You're going to get coached. Maybe you do private lessons. Maybe you go to camps. You're going to get coached on your brain by us, and you're going to get coached on your physical by your sports coach, right? Your gymnastics coach. So you're going to do all of these actions to get the result of a no wobble beam series. Now, one of the things that's helpful is you go, oh, I'm going to have that feeling. These are the actions I'll take out of that feeling. Oh, turns out it doesn't get me the result I want. That feeling's not going to be the right one to do it. So then you'll choose a different one. So you want to start down first so you can see, will this feeling get me to the result that I want? Once you find the right feeling that's going to drive all of the actions that you need to take to get the result, then you go back upwards and you go, what thought could I think that would generate that feeling in me? And so one of them that I like to think is, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get this. I want this, and so I'm willing to put in the hard work. I'll do this as long as it takes, those kinds of feelings. Kelly brought up something when we were chatting about this that was really helpful. Sometimes it's really great to put it into the bigger perspective of what you're trying to accomplish. So let's say backhands are a no wobble beam series is going to get you to your bigger goal of placing in the top 3 regionals. And so then all of a sudden, this work is worth it. Because maybe having a no wobble beam series doesn't actually feel compelling to you, but you really want to place in the top 3 and you know you need that to do that, then all of a sudden you can think, this is going to get me to my bigger goal. this is going to help me place in the top 3. I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I'm willing to put in the hard work because I want to get into the top 3. Like whatever that might be, you kind of put your bigger goal that you have in this compelling reason. And then you got to see, if I believed that, would I feel determined? And then you can kind of go from there.
So those were 2 different ways that you can create an intentional model, right? We have our unintentional model that we've been practicing for the last week. And now those are 2 ways to create an intentional model. So your daily work that you're going to do is going to be still doing your thought download and creating a model. And then in addition, you're going to create your intentional model, and you can use the crafting style. You can start in the F line like Coach Stacy talked about, whatever feels most comfortable for you, but practicing being able to transfer from that old model to the model that you would like to get to, or your unicorn model, is going to be so helpful. Stacy, can you tell us a little bit more about the benefits of this daily work?
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you spend a lot of hours training your body, but what directs your body is your mind. So you'll spend all these hours training your body and getting these skills, and then you'll show up at competition and your mind will start freaking out and you won't show up and be able to compete the way that you want to compete. Or you show up to practice and you can't practice the way you want to practice. It always starts in your brain. Always, always, always. And your experience of doing the things always starts in that offline, that emotion. And so like when you're feeling terrified or you're feeling nervous or anxious a lot of the time, your experience of your sport is not very fun. So doing the work to clean up the emotions, to learn how to process them, to figure out what's going on in your head, and then to think on purpose the ways that you want to think will help you in any area of life. The model always works in anything you face, in everything you do. You'll be able to use this self-coaching model to direct yourself into, one, understand where you're at, and then to direct yourself into a way that you want to go. And the more you practice it, so just like anything else, if you practice this once a week, like you're going to get some results for sure. But it'll be the same as doing strength once a week or flexibility once a week. The difference of what you'll get if you start practicing this every single day, more days than not, it will be exponential. And you'll get to a point where you'll have done so many models that you know what's happening in the moment. You're like, oh, I know when I think this and I feel this, it always happens that way. But I can shift it to think this. And so that's what I'm going to do. And then you go and you change it right there. So instead of being up on the beam and feeling terrified and rubbing your hands and getting down and getting back up, you just be like, oh, wait, I'm feeling terrified because I'm thinking, what if I split the beam? But I know that that doesn't serve me in any way, shape, or form. Here's what I'm going to do. I know how to shift this. I'm going to shift this into this. And then you get back up on the beam and you do the series, right? Or you don't even think it in the first place because your brain starts to go there and you're like, I know what you're doing here. We're going to be just fine. The more you practice this, it will improve every single area of your life and every single area of your sport. It will help you win. It will help you learn how to be confident in competition. It will help you enjoy your experience along the way. And so it's worth the work to do. So we're going to tell you a little bit more about what's next. This course is over. And so we want to invite you into what's next with us so you can continue. There's so much more to this. Like, how do you go from the old model to the new model? We've got a process. It's going to take you through there. And so we're gonna do that in another video because we want you to just kind of breathe and think about doing this daily homework. And then you can watch the what's next video and the quiz. But your daily homework, not just for the rest of the week, but like for the rest of your life. Thought model, unintentional model, thought download, take a thought, run it through your model, and then craft a new model. And you're just going to do that day in and day out. And I have found that everything else flows from that. When I'm trying to create a new habit, when I'm trying to reach big goals, when I'm trying to feel better, all of those things happen when I do my daily thought practice in ways that they don't happen when I don't. And so just encouraging you along that. Thank you so much for being here with us. We will see you in the next video. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.